when we don't know about the journal, how can we find out? Each journals, they have the different regulations to publish. So today we have the editors from each journal to introduce to you all and suggest the way to publish on each journal. Just remember that in the future, PhD dissertations for PhD students have to publish, will be published on the journal based on Scopus or international journal. So then that's the PhD student will have the trouble. We have the double task. So to find out the journal on the international based criteria. So today we have the representative from each journal to introduce and suggest you the way to publish and what I think you have so many questions in your brain, the way to publish and how to publish, what kind of the journals should be published. So on behalf, I will take for long to open the ceremonies because another activity essential for us, waiting for us. On behalf of IBSC, I would like to thank the representative, all representative from each journals to present and introduce the student today. May I take this opportunity to open the activity today. Thank you so much.
Respected Venerable Assistant Professor Dr. Pramahā Sompong Kunakaro, Vice Director of IBSC for Research and Buddhist Innovations, right? And Venerable Monks, editor and guest, student. So I'm very pleased to be with you here. So I have a short time to present the the Journal of International Buddhist Study College that I think you all know well about this journal. This journal is belong to IBSC, but it's temporarily stopped for a while. Since I has been appointed to be vice director here, I authorize it, and then now it's come into assistant. And most welcome all of you to publish in this JIBSC. So before that, as the Venerable Sompong has said, that this is the requirement for those who graduate in MA's program and PhD program. As it mentioned in the announcement of Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science, and Innovation. It's a very long name of ministry. You can say that Mahesi, MHESI, that they control or they monitor the higher education. They announce, they enact the rule and regulation for this. This is one of the announcement of the program criteria. So for those who are going to finish MA or PhD degree, their thesis or dissertation or some part of thesis or dissertation have to be published. This is compulsory for all. Otherwise, you cannot finish or you cannot be graduated. This is the compulsory for those who are going to complete the education in different level. So that's why it needs for you to know and to prepare yourself before going to finish or before going to thesis defense. That's you have to prepare for that. So it's required the journal to be published. This is the thing that I would like to make you understand about this. Okay, all have to do this. So regarding the IBSC, so our mission is that we have changed it to advance scholarly research and dialogue in the field of Buddhist studies. Since we are here in Buddhist study, that's our mission. Our mission is foster global community, a scholar and practitioner committed to understanding and promoting Buddhist wisdom. So as you have seen that it's a wisdom for the world. This is one of the channel to propagate, to disseminate the Buddhist wisdom to the public, to the world. This is our mission and vision.
Dr. Kona, each
Yes.
speaker has 15 minutes.
Yeah. I'm go quickly. It's not much.
You're on the first slide.
Okay. So I'm going to key objective. It's publish high quality academic research in various aspects in Buddhism. Especially we focus on Buddhism. Even those scholars from other fields like Christianity also they apply for the article. So our duty as the director have to suggest them to add more regarding the Buddhist principle of Buddhist field to their article. The second one is encourage the interdisciplinary approach to the Buddhist study. And the last one is our platform, not just only for our students in IBSC, but for others also. So you are welcome for this, but you are in the part of internal article, not external article. We have divided. The external article have to be more than internal article. So we have the limited number of articles for you. This is our limitation. Okay. I'm going to finish within 5 minutes. Okay. So, the scope not only traditional Buddhism, but comparative study with other religion and philosophy also, as well as the contemporary issue in Buddhism. Or even we can have the modern science also can be published here, can be submitted for publication in this psychology, sociology, or languages. This is I think normally it's the same like many articles. So first you have to prepare manuscript according to the format that article provided to you. That's strictly to do right that. You have to conform to the format that that article has provided to you. This is our journal also. Do as the same. After you prepare it, and then you have to submit online in our journal. So then after that, the editorial team will go through how it's even format or even the content of that. So we have to align with our mission and vision of our journal. This is the normal step. After that, if any change, we send to the authors, and you have to make a change and submit again. And then we have to assign the peer reviewer to go through your manuscript. And then any change, any suggestion will go to you. And then you make correction and submit again. It depends on the reviewer. Okay. And then after that, we have to prepare for production and publication. That's all. I think we have to, it's a time for this just within the month, I think. Yeah, just within the month. So we have the staff to look after this. Okay. This is some kind of the procedure that I have mentioned already. Okay. So we have right now, we increase into 4 issues. Before that, we have just 2 issues per year. Right now, 4 issues. And then you are most welcome to publish here. And thank you very much for IBSC, not JI. It's the same. It's the same. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay. So I will take both duties. Actually, previously you heard about the procedure of how to publish your articles on journals of International Buddhist Study College. Actually, this one previously very popular for students, and we provide this one for our student. That means IBSC student. So if you have any questions after Professor Franz, then we will open to you all to ask about the questions, because this one very necessary also, especially student from international. So very tough for international student to find out the journals, and especially English language. So mostly you stay in Thailand, that mostly journal in Thai language. So next, I would like to invite Professor Franz. Professor Franz exactly is professors at our International Buddhist Study College, IBSC. So his journal, he responds for Asian philosophy. So I heard about this one. I used to talk with him about the movements of Asian philosophy, because it's later we find out the journals on philosophy that's very necessary for our university or our students who study philosophy also. So we will hear from him about how to publish and the new movements or the movements of Asian philosophy. Yes, especially Asian philosophy is based on the scopus. So that's very necessary. Thank you, Professor. Please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sampong Kunakaro. So this is the Student Meet Editors meeting today. I hope all of the students have come away from today's meeting with good ideas about which journals they are interested in working with in the future. So the editor of Asian Philosophy now is Dr. Indira Mahalingam Kaur, and she gives this advice to anyone who intends to publish in the journal. First question: what is your philosophical analysis? Your philosophical analysis. since Asian Philosophy is a philosophy journal, this is the first question prospective authors should be prepared to answer in their own way. Asian Philosophy first published Volume 1, Number 1 in 1991. Its standards are high. Rejection rates can be as much as 7 out of 10 rejected. My own experience with the journal includes being on the advisory editorial board since its founding in 1991 and being an associate editor since 2004. My article, Towards a Philosophy of Buddhist Religion, was published in the first issue, and it challenged the Christocentric textbooks published under the name of Philosophy of Religion, which included nothing about Asian material. Sometimes MA graduates get published here, but I think this journal is most appropriate for recent PhDs who have their first job teaching philosophy courses already. I will talk today about my previous mentoring experiences with Li Yong, David Montalvo, Jiangsha Yu, and Amritananda. These are some of the real luminaries that I have had the pleasure of working with. Li Yong I met in 2004, sent to Wuhan University School of Philosophy to teach for a summer by the Rotary International Organization. And Li Yong was an undergraduate at that time. He was very quick-witted. He was really, in effect, the class leader. When I tried to make a small group at that time of students to discuss in front of the classroom, only Li Yong was ready. He published 6 articles in Asian philosophy during his lifetime so far, and a number of other things elsewhere. Now he has his own journal, and he sent a visual and a textual document for you because he couldn't be here today. David Montalvo was a student of mine who at Westchester University did his master's in philosophy. And he was really smart. He was a physics teacher in a local school. And in fact, he could have gone to the University of Pennsylvania. But because of his family obligations with 2 kids and a wife who also taught, in her case, chemistry, he just thought it would disrupt everything if he undertook full-time PhD study at Penn. So he stayed on as a physics teacher. He published an article, which I'll show you the abstract for a little later. Jiangsha Yu was a scholar of Greek when I met her at the Greater Philadelphia Philosophy Consortium. She had been there studying with a well-known professor of Greek language, so she could do her work comparing Buddhism and Greek material. She was part of the Galen Project in Utrecht and continuously has taught in China as well. Amritananda was a student of mine at the KL Dhammajoti's Buddha Dharma Center of Hong Kong. And at that time, he was just finishing his PhD. He was smart. He was argumentative. And not a lot of students liked him because he always asked everybody a tough question. And that's just the kind of student I want to recruit. And so I did. I said, Venable, your work is outstanding. Why don't you carve out a chapter or part of a chapter and we'll send it to peer review to Asian philosophy. And he said, oh yeah, what an opportunity, because I got an offer to teach as a Sanskrit professor at the University of Hong Kong, but they said you have to publish an article in a good place before we can give you the formal offer. Now, this is an interesting story. This is his first time. He's from Bangladesh. The population there does not favor Buddhists in general. And if he didn't get this article published, he would have to go back there. He sent it once. It was rejected, and revisions were required. Twice, 3 times. The 4th time it was accepted. Every time he was on it. He was on the questions. He answered every question. So my hat goes off to him. He is a true scholar monk. Okay. So I first talk about the abstract of Liang's first article. I mentioned he published 6 in Asian philosophy and a number of other places, and now has his own journal. He wrote an article in 2006 on the divine command theory of Mozi. The main idea is he criticized Mozi's viewpoint because he made assumptions which didn't support his conclusions about the heaven to human relationship and the man to man relationship. That is to say, in the text he studied in Chinese, Mozi, he discovered Mozi did not justify the moral or social relationship in society by appealing to the religious relationship. The article by David Montalvo I picked, he published 2 on his own steam, everything peer-reviewed. He talked about the Buddhist empiricism thesis, which I had previously written about in Asian philosophy a few years before that, and he developed a more detailed critique on the same topic. Zhang Xiaoyu explored the idea of the body in Epictetus's discourses and Buddhist Satipatthana Sutta, and it underscores the importance of embodied practice in Epictetus and in Buddhism. Amritananda's article focused on antarabhava, or the intermediate state, and he argued that early Buddhist discourses contain instances that suggest a spatiotemporal gap between death and rebirth, known as Bardo if you do Tibetan, or antarabhava if you study Pali, translated as intermediate existence, in contrast to the idea of Theravada Buddhist theory that rebirth takes place immediately without a spatiotemporal gap. In order to prove this, he argued that the one who liberates in interval attains nibbana in the intermediate existence, and the concept of gandhava in early Buddhist discourses refers to a being in intermediate existence, not to kuti vijnana, or a dying consciousness. So this is my conclusion. Regarding the method of mentoring I used with all these scholars and many more, I used a template and main argument method I have been teaching for a number of years here and for 30 years in America before this. Since 2004, I also did this. I would scout for excellent articles that are being read at conferences per possible submission to Asian philosophy. In other words, I would read my own paper on a panel, and then I'd look around, well, what's happening in the field? And when I found somebody really good, I would go up to them after they read their paper, and I would ask, well, is your paper promised anywhere to any journal? I found it very interesting. Most often they would say no. And I'd say, well, how would you like to send it to Asian philosophy? I happen to be an associate editor. I could mention you. And so then the peer review process went normally. Very often these papers were published. Other times I have directly invited a PhD, or rarely, like David Montalvo, a master student known to me for producing high quality work, to send a paper to Dr. Indira, and back in those days to Dr. Carr as well, her husband, her late husband. In every case, what was submitted for possible publication was also sent out for a double-blind peer review by the main editor of Asian Philosophy. And now I give my homage to Dr. Brian Carr, who has very recently passed away. And these two, Brian and Indira, they founded the journal together. The internet link below is about the life and extraordinary career of a pioneer in the field of Asian philosophy, Dr. Brian Carr. Quote, against a background of closing departments of philosophy in the UK universities, it was a massively bold stroke on the part of Brian, together with his co-worker and companion, later his wife, Indira, to attempt an expansion of philosophical foci to embrace, for example, the study of and research into Indian, Chinese, and Buddhist philosophies. Asian philosophy is now in its 33rd year of publication. So I thank you for listening to me. I would recommend for any young faculty who are looking for a place to publish that you contact Dr. Indira Carr Mahalingam. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Frank, who gave us about the information about the Asian philosophy journal. So now, if do you have any questions, we open for you all to ask the question from the questions about the IBSC journal of IBSC, or okay, you can ask any. Yeah. Yes. Any question for Professor Frank? And yes, please.
No. And my question is, how long will it take for the entire process?
You ask whom? Both. Okay.
I think our journal is not very long time. It's in the tier 2 only in TCI. But for you, I think maybe Scopus or something like that. At that, it will take a long time. But for us, 1 or 2 months. Since we have 4 issues, right? 4 issues per year. So now, not much time, right? So normally we send to the external reviewer. We give 1 month for them to get review. So approximately 2 months. 4 months for 1 issue for us, right? So 2 months normally. Yeah. So any questions? So if you have any, you need some kind of information, just go to the 3rd floor, this printing. So no. So we have to wait because 4 months, right? This for this year. So the issue will be published within the month of April. So okay. Yes. Yeah. So you have to prepare. You have to prepare. If suppose you would like to publish in 2nd issue, so right now you have to prepare for that. Okay. You have to make a plan for publication. Okay. So actually, it's first come, first serve. Now, right now, it's free of charge. Yeah.
Okay, I will ask both instead of student. Maybe you have some question in your mind, but you might hesitate to ask the question. Okay, Ajahn Gonit, previously so many students published on. We would like to know about how many issues per what? How many articles per one issue?
Right, it's already existed. No, what you mean? I don't
That's mean one issue, how many articles you
Oh,
publish?
one issue. Right now we have no limited, but external article have to be more than internal article. There is no limited right now. It depends, but we are we open for applicant. Suppose this we right now for so we have to keep 2 months for the reviewer. So right now we already close for submission in this first issue. So within 2 months before we publish, so we have to close it, not to accept any article, right? So you have to make a plan.
So you know,
So we have to keep balance between external and internal.
do you know external and internal article? So one journal regarding regulation, they said, okay, for example, 20 article within one issue. So
suppose
we have to separate between internal and external. External is mean outside.
outside.
If you are insider, that means you study our university, that your paper will be internal. So before publishing, we have to calculate that's how many of you, how many external, etc.
Like a 20 article in this issue, one issue. So 8 for internal, 12 for external. Right, this.
The more question, the more important. How much for that?
How much?
For publication?
No, right now it's free of charge
Fee of charge. Okay, yes.
for you. Right.
We can see example for other people already submitted to already submitted to other articles for iteration already. How we can find
So you just ask our staff here. We can approach it in the third floor.
Okay. Yes.
How about the topic that choose any topic or is a limited?
No, any topic, but it's related to our objective. Tradition, contemporary Buddhism, but for you, it's okay. Because you are studying Buddhist study or peace study, it's okay. Or even philosophy.
Venerable, your study, for example, you study master degree in Buddhism, and your thesis concerned about any kind of topic, but so you can conclude from your thesis and publish it. That's we call the thesis article. You cannot take the author outside to publish it. The articles must relate to your thesis. Yes.
Your thesis or part of your thesis.
Then you can say that my thesis published already. Otherwise, you cannot say like this because of
That your publication in our annual journal is useful for you for your graduation.
Any question? So we will go to Professor Frank. Yes, this is the higher standard than IBSC. Okay. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ajahn Gunit, to give information to students. Okay, we wait for the authors who respond for Asian philosophy, sorry. Asian philosophy for if you're interested in study, publishing, taking your issue or your article to publish here. Yes. Professor Frank, he asked how much for that.
It's not a matter of money. Asian philosophy is a very high quality journal. If you're accepted, of course, it will be published. I never heard of any payment. And now I would like to ask Venerable Chang to open the video for Professor Dr. Yong Li from Wuhan University's School of Philosophy. You've heard me speak about Yong Li before. He was a precocious undergraduate, went up through the ranks, and here he is for you now.
For the Journal of Social and Political Philosophy. And this is the journal I'm going to talk about today. It's really an honor to be part of this panel. So I will talk about the history of the journal first. So in 2021, the School of Philosophy at Wuhan University was thinking of launching a new philosophy journal, and we talked with many publishers, and then we choose Edinburgh University Press. So in 2022, we launched the first issue. The title of our journal is called the Journal of Social and Political Philosophy. We publish 2 issues a year. So 2021, we published 2 issues, and 2023, we published another 2 issues, and in 2024, we have already published the first issue, and the second issue will be out very soon. I will talk a bit about the editorial borders. So our chief editor is Professor Paul Patton. Professor Patton is an Australian. He used to teach in Australia, in Sydney. So he was a professor of philosophy at University of Sydney. He was a chair professor at University of New South Wales. Professor Patton's primary area is contemporary European philosophy, especially Deleuze, Foucault, and continental social and political philosophy. Paul has been a full-time professor at Wuhan University for several years. So he's the editor of this, our journal. We have 6 associate editors. They come from different places. So 3 of them are from Wuhan University. But we also have Professor James Phillison from talk a bit about the editorial borders. So our chief editor is Professor Paul Patton. Professor Patton is an Australian. He used to teach in Australia, in Sydney. So he was a professor of philosophy at University of Sydney. He was a chair professor at University of New South Wales. Professor Patton's primary area is contemporary European philosophy, especially Deleuze, Foucault, and continental social and political philosophy. Paul has been a full-time professor at Wuhan University for several years. So he's the editor of this, our journal. We have 6 associate editors. They come from different places. So 3 of them are from Wuhan University. But we also have Professor James Phillison from UK, and Professor Jean Ho Kwok, who is a Korean scholar, currently teaches at the Sun Yat-sen University. And also we have Anina Ziliotti, who is an excellent young Italian philosopher and currently teaches in the leaflet. So our journal not only publishes research papers, but also publish book reviews. So we have 3 review editors. My colleague, Professor Ben Cross, and we have 2 other book review editors from UK. And our editorial assistant is my colleague, Mrs. Jenny Huiming Li. And also we have a very high profile advisory board. So among them, you can see Wendy Brown from Princeton, Hornet from Columbia, Martin Jie from Berkeley, Li Jianko from LSE, and David Owen, Philip Pettit from NU, and Melissa Williams from Toronto. Almost all of them are very well-known scholars in social and political philosophy. So I'll talk more about submissions. Hopefully, if you have suitable papers, you can submit to our journal. So our journal addressed the new challenges facing social and political thought in the 21st century. So I published high quality articles and original contributions to social and political philosophy from a range of disciplines, traditions, and civilizational perspectives. So we do encourage people from diverse traditions, diverse cultures to submit their papers. And also, we welcome contributions dealing with contemporary issues, debates, controversies involving Western social and political thought and East Asian approaches, including Chinese traditions. I want to promote engagement between East Asian and Western approaches to social and political philosophy. And as most of you may be aware that the current discussion in social and political philosophy is dominated by Western perspectives. So we want to bring more diverse voices on important issues in social and political philosophy. So we publish 2 issues per year in February and August. So the first issue of 2024 was out last month, and the next issue will be out later this year. So there are different kinds of submissions. So original research papers, between 7,000 and 10,000 words, address any aspect of contemporary social, political, philosophical issues. But also we welcome critical response. So if you read any articles that have already been published in Journal of Social and Political Philosophy, and you find those articles interesting, but you disagree with the arguments, you can publish a critical response on our journal. It only requires length between 2,000 and 5,000 words. And also we publish review essays dealing with more than one book, or semantic discussion or recent work in a particular field. But also we publish regular short book reviews. So if you come across a book in the domain of social and political philosophy, you can write a book review of that book and send that book review to our journal. And also we organize symposium on important books. So let's say a few of you find a particular book very insightful, interesting, so you can organize maybe 3 or 4 papers that provide critical engagement with the book, and the journal could publish it in one issue. So those are the types of submissions we are looking for. So all submissions can be sent to our editorial assistant. So at the end, I will talk a bit about our statistics. So here's the data for our 2022 submissions and publications. Because our journal is a relatively new journal, which has been in existence only for 2.5 years. So our submissions comparing to many long-established journals are not that many yet, but it's also very significant. We have 34 submissions and 55 reviews requested, and received 36 book reviews. So our acceptance rate is 26. That's a modest acceptance rate for a new journal. Many more, again, long-established journals, their acceptance rate could be around 10%, 15% or so. It does not specify the time from submission to publication, but again, I think it's pretty short. After you submit, you get the first response from our editor. So these are the statistics. If you are interested, you can find our journal website easily. You can just type in Journal of Social and Political Philosophy in Google. It will take you to Edinburgh University Press website. Again, you are welcome to submit your submissions. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. I hope you have a flourishing research career. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Monks, nuns, lay people, I have a word from Professor Dr. Suraj Hangladaram that he is on the way, and we're expecting him in 20 minutes. So we will reverse the order. I'd like now to introduce his former student and a freestanding philosopher in her own right, who has already published several articles. She's going to talk to you about her experience co-editing. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, so let me give you the idea before she gets up here to tell her point of view. Many of you think, oh, I have to take a slice out of my dissertation, I have to publish, I have to make sure everything is in my own name. But her experience is different. She has had up till now 3 highly successful co-editing of articles experiences. Without further ado, Ajahn Clairon.
Okay, thank you for your introduction. Very kind of you. I'm not really like highly successful like that. In fact, um, I feel I should be sitting among you all, listening to all advice from editors. And I mean, I am still in the process of improving my submission as well. Okay. However, when Professor Frank invited me to share my experience, I thought it might be a good idea to share my direct experience as a co-author. I mean, I work in collaboration with the others, as well as a solo work in some work. Okay, so I'd like to start with a brief overview of my experience in publication. So far, I have 5 publications. Okay, and although I would consider 4 because the first one was actually part of my PhD dissertation, that same as you guys, that you are required to do. So my first dissertation is focused on the ethics of marketing, since I used to work in industrial sector for 17 years. So this background like prompted me to investigate my own career. So luckily,
I wonder, Dr. Claron, would you
Yes.
mind telling them how you got interested in philosophy?
All right. Okay. It's just a very simple way of philosophy that it is introduced to my life. Just in fact, I was in the business area, and then I have my friends who used to study philosophy and at Kasesa University. And then one day I just talked to her and okay, what have you been like? What does it like study philosophy, something like that? And she tells me about her experience in studying, and said that studying philosophy, it makes you like can make you think broader and be open-minded, and you can like not jump to a conclusion very easily, and listen with your critical thinking, something like that. So,
And
yeah.
did you observe any business practices that caused you to think critically about what you observed, maybe from an ethical standpoint?
You mean that from my own experience in
Yes.
working? In fact, when I worked in the industry, I would say that I really had no time to think about that carefully. But on and on, I mean years, many years that I've been working. So I have heard people like blame about the marketing activity. So that make me think about my career carefully. And then I talked to my friends that the one that that I mentioned that she learned philosophy. So it's combined together. I would like to. So at that time, like 10 years ago, perhaps 12 years or 15 years ago, I don't remember exactly, but I decided I would like to continue my PhD. And then I think that it might be a good opportunity to try philosophy, so that I can search for my answer to the ethical question of my career. Yeah. And so that is the first area of myself. But later on, after I changed my career to academic field, so my interest like has shifted to Buddhist philosophy, and so about my publication, the second one and the third one, I had a chance to. In fact, I get publication in what JIBS. That you mentioned today that you have JIBS and JIBSC, right? So I have a look many times while I was sitting there that to be sure that it's JIBS or JIBSC. So okay, I had two article in JBSC and one. I work with my friend Ajahn Paira Mangcharan, that you know her. Now she work at College of Religious Study at Mahidol University, and the fourth one, it was my solo work. I work alone, but no, the fourth one, I work with her again. So I aim to get publication in Scopus to secure my. So to secure the requirement of the university, because at Mahidol University as well as at Chulalongkorn, they require us to, encourage us to get publication in a journal with a Scopus base. So
And, I think many of our students have never thought seriously about co-editing a publication early in their career. So what would you see as the advantages and disadvantages of co-editing?
Okay, right to the point. From my experience, I found that I will start with the disadvantages first. Okay, I have a list. I think about it, and I have a list of 3 of advantages and 3 of disadvantages, like the top one that come to my mind. The first one is related to creative differences. When I say creative differences, it occurs when my co-writer and I myself have different approach to answering a question. For example, if we are exploring the phenomenon of emotion, for example, my co-writer might focus on interpretation from Pali Sutta, when perhaps I would like to look at the Abhidhamma, for example, Citta, Cetasika and Rupa, for instance. Okay, and in this case, this can sometimes create a feeling. A feeling of limitation and some limitation of autonomy. But this thing, it is kind of two sides of a coin, because when the creative differences mean that we can have a diverse perspective as well. Okay, and I consider it as this serves as a preliminary peer review, enhancing the quality of our work. Okay.
So working with others, do I understand you right? Working with others stimulates you to think in new ways that you probably wouldn't have thought of by yourself. For
yes,
publishing.
right. Because another one. I mentioned it as a disadvantage, right? But I point it out as an advantage point as well. Yes, and the thing is, when we work together, the difficulty when we work together is the differences of methodology and writing styles as well. Like, for example, in philosophy, people talk about the difference between analytic philosophical style and continental style, although this distinction may not be as strong today. But sometimes our friend love to be mention about socio or cultural interpretation, something like that. But Another one might love to have a clear premises and statement and conclusion like this.
I'm going to
So,
try to get the lunches.
And in
over
addition,
to
about the
our
writing style
editors
as well,
coming up.
like
Okay, thank you.
one person may feel comfortable with formal academic English style, while another one might prefer like simpler and more reader-friendly style. So the most challenging part is when we have to combine two together. So the solution that works for me is to plan together beforehand and create a draft, and then it is very crucial to from the beginning to set up to decide that who gonna be the final editors. Okay, and one more thing, importantly, the agreement of work and authorship roles should be assigned and should be discussed as well from the beginning. For example, this includes deciding who will be the first author, like who will be the second author and corresponding author, something like that. And I believe that reaching an agreement on this position is crucial, as this manner becomes significant if you intend to use the publication for academic position application as well, since it needs a verification of the distribution of the work. Okay, and another disadvantage point that I see is about the coordinating challenges like time management. So since unexpected event can occur at any time, so my solution is just very simple: just be well prepared, and in kind of the unexpected situation, and remain flexible. Okay, as you we never know. Okay, so shall I continue to the advantage side? Okay. Well, while I was discussing the advantage, you may have noticed some advantages of working collaboratively. And based on my experience, as mentioned earlier, our differences, I and my friend, we might have some difficulty in differences in belief and creativities, but these are actually a strong point that I mentioned to you. Okay, for example, the work, the article that I work with Dr. Pairot, she is very keen on Buddhist Pali texts and Buddhist studies, while my expertise lies in philosophy and critical thinking. So when these two areas of expertise are combined, okay, they can lead to insightful arguments, I think, within the context of Buddhism. Okay, and I find it enjoyable as well. Okay, the second point of the advantage of collaboration is very important for me. I think is friendship and connection. Okay, the advantage of friendship and connection, in my point of view, is very precious, because connection serves as a key that can open doors to new perspective and opportunity as well. Okay. A clear example of this is my current collaboration with Professor Frank. Okay, he has not only guided me in challenging myself to improve my writing ability up to the standard of Asian Philosophy Journal, but he advised me many things. Okay, and before that, I'm referring to another paper, the fifth one, I published in the book edited by Professor Frank and Professor Solas as well. Both professors provided me with lots of help for this work. Okay, so my point is working with others can broaden your opportunities and make you feel like less isolated in the academic world. Okay, in my point of view. All right.
Let's save
Yeah.
15 minutes for students to ask you things
Yeah,
about
sure.
writing collaboratively. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So who would like to ask? I bring the microphone to you. Yeah, Benoit. And one more back there. Sure.
Good morning, great lady. Great, happy to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nice to meet you too.
I would like to ask you a question before I ask question. My question is, I think you are happy to share your life experience. Okay, so before you publish your article journal and after, how in fact other people and for you benefit or something like that. Can you share your life experience? How did you feel for your finish your published journal for?
How do I feel when I finished publications?
Yes,
Like,
before and after.
before and after.
After, yes.
Before it's so suffer. It
Okay,
was
that's
so
my okay.
suffering because I need to make it done, right? Yeah, like suffering in life, like just would like to get rid of it as soon as possible. But I have experience working alone and working with friends. The difference is when working with friends, I can share my suffering to my friend, and my friend can share hers to me, and we can talk to each other many times, several times. And after we finish and get publication, successfully, so is the world is changed. Okay, from suffering to a peace of mind, something like that. So, but it is kind of never ending task of your life if you would like to be in the academic world. Once you finish this, for example, currently I have 3 papers on hand in process. I can't believe it. And all of them, I work with the other people. Yes. Yeah. Thank you for your question.
Okay, the Queen has a question way back here.
Yeah,
Yes.
good morning.
Good morning.
I want to ask one question about when you work with your co-writer, and it's sure that you will have some difficulties when you work with them and different ideas or different perspective. And what will you do when you have the different idea with your
Okay, very good.
co-writer?
Yeah. Interesting question because, I would say that if you would like to work with the other, like work in collaboration, first you need to know the other a little bit, and you need to be sure that another one has the same direction. Something that share with you, perhaps some preference or some kind of conversation or some thinking, something like that. And in fact, I have experience working with the other person that I have it's not my choice. It compulsory from the department. In this situation, it is very much different from the first situation. The first situation, you can choose your friend who you want to work with. But the other situation, I will be even more flexible to share the idea and to accept the idea. And if I feel that the idea is not that far from my thinking or my thoughts, so I'm quite open to accept it and develop the work together. The main point is when you work with people that quite diverse with you in terms of their interests, you should, I mean, I myself as well, be open more and more. Okay, that's all.
I believe there's one more question in the back.
Yeah.
Good morning. I want
Yes.
to know what's your most hardest part during your work?
Hardest
Hardest.
parts
Yeah.
of what? Sorry.
Of your work, like the
Of my
whole
work?
process.
Of my work.
Yeah.
What is my work right now is as a teacher, lecturer, right? The hardest part, well, doing research is not easy. It's a difficult part as well. I mean, I get some difficulty as well, especially when you cannot find a solution or find a good proposition for your work, but we can manage it. So, frankly speaking, for myself, I think the hardest part is about teaching the student.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I mean, when student, I need to be like, I need to be sure that student get the message that I would like to convey. And when the student, well, my ambition is to make the student think more and more when they get out from the classroom. They should have some take-home message to be in their mind. So I see that the teaching part is more difficult for me. Okay, thank you for the question.
Thank you.
I think it's time.
Okay, I guess that's the time we have for student Q&A, and I want to thank Dr. Clarong for being here with us. And next, we've reversed the order. Now, you have heard from the former student of the man who's going to speak now. I'm very pleased to introduce my friend and colleague, our friend and colleague, Professor Dr. Suraj Hongladaram, Professor of Philosophy, Chulalongkorn University. So,
I'm going to talk on my capacity as the editor of the Journal of the Philosophy and Religion Society. So basically, I'm introducing you the journal and kind of inviting you to submit your papers. I'm going to show you the website of อันนี้ต่อจอนี้ป่ะ No, I'm going to show the website of the journal. It's ต่อเน็ตอยู่ป่ะได้เลยใช่ป่ะเดี๋ยวเอาจอนี้ So it's already connected to the internet, right? Yeah. Okay. So which one? Okay. So we published papers both in Thai and in English. So all of us here are welcome. And I'm the editor. I still don't remember the URL of the journal. I have to search it every time. So those of you who don't know Thai, you can search for the journal through this title of the journal. Just put it on Google. and it will appear Journal of the Past, PARST, that's the acronym of our association, Philosophy and Religion Society of Thailand. So it's based at the association. So it does not belong to any university or any other institution. In that case, it's kind of quite strange in the case of Thai journals, because most Thai academic journals are affiliated with a university, but this one is affiliated with a professional association of kind of teachers of philosophy and religious studies in Thailand. So there are both advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantages are kind of we don't have regular budget. I mean, everybody who is working at the journal for the journal kind of is doing this on a voluntary basis. We don't get any kind of salary or honoraria or remuneration. We do it just for the love of philosophy in the country. So, it's in Sinhala. It's in Sinhala. Sinhala. Thai and Sinhala. Can you do it to change it to English? I'll try to. Yeah.แต่ URL มันถูกนะเปลี่ยนโปรไฟล์จากโครมออกโครมแล้วเข้าโปรไฟล์แบบโปรไฟล์กลางออกโครมแล้วเข้าใหม่แบบที่หลวงพี่ทำเมื่อกี้เนี่ยเพราะว่าโครมมันจำภาษาสิงหนของยูเซอร์คนเก่ามั้งต้องเปลี่ยนยูเซอร์เอามา English
นี่สีลังกา
มันไม่ไปเอามาแล้วต้องเข้ามาไม่เป็นไรมั้งเดี๋ยวผมไปได้ตรงนี้ที่มันถ่ายอีกมันไม่เกี่ยวบางจุดเป็นสิงหนอันนี้มันก็เกสไอ้เขาแล้วนะหลวงพี่มีเว็บเบราว์เซอร์อื่นแบบ Firefox เลย Edge อะไรพวกนี้ที่มันไม่จำEdge นี่แล้วเข้าใหม่ในนี้น่าจะได้สิงหนเหมือนกันสิงหนไม่ได้ผมนึกว่ามันเกี่ยวกับเบราว์เซอร์ไม่เป็นไรเมื่อเดี๋ยวผมก็พูดไปได้กดที่จุด3จุดนะ
ปกติถ้าเว็บไซต์โจมก็เปลี่ยนแค่นี้ก็ได้นะ
อืม
เยอะแยะไปหมด
เยอะแยะไปหมดไม่เป็นไรครับพี่เดี๋ยวผมพูดได้
มีผมด้วยนะมีน้อยสมัยลองบอกว่ามีนะ
สีมันสีมัน
ทำไมมันเป็นที่อันนี้ Google Translate ไม่น่าเกี่ยวแค่นี้ก็น่าจะมีภาษาเป็น
ไม่เป็นไรไม่เป็นไรโอเคnever mind so a little bit of Sinhalese which we I don't know anybody from Sri Lanka here so if necessary please translate it for us so this is the website of the journal and we published 2 issues in a year in a volume so 1 volume in a year and 2 issues in 1 volume the first issue comes out in July we try to be able to come out with the July issue before 31st of July because we are kind of constrained by this organization with which control academic journals in Thailand. This organization called TCI, Thailand Citation Index. They are an organization. They are an organization that kind of coordinates activities of academic journals in Thailand, and they give out badges and they rank journals into 3 tiers, like number 1, number 2, and number 3. Number 1 is the highest ranked, one of the among the best journals. Not exactly in terms of the quality of the papers that can be debated, but in terms of the budget and regularity of coming out with issues and so on and so forth, but not exactly with the quality of the papers, which is the most important thing, because they don't have the number of academics in all the areas in Thailand who will kind of review all the papers. So what they do is they look at the number of citation, but as we perhaps know how many times a paper is cited is not necessarily an indication of its quality. I mean, people can just cite a paper by saying very critical thing about that paper, that can happen. So one thing for you to know working here in Thailand is to know TCI and how journals are ranked into 3 tiers. JPAS here is ranked number 2. We try to go up to number 1, but one of the criteria that they use to push up a journal into number 1 is that a journal has to have a regular staff. But we are an association. We don't have any income. We don't have any money to hire regular staff. A regular staff who works full time only for the journal, that is too much. That's too difficult, and that we believe has nothing to do with the quality of the paper. So when you look at tier 1, tier 2, and so forth, kind of look at them with some grain of salt. So the journal is part of TCI, and TCI is managing a general portal to all the journals in the country called Thai Journals Online. I don't remember the URL. So Thai Journals Online. and I hope it won't come in Sinhalese again. No Sinhalese here, only Thai. Okay. Here is some important website for, especially for those of us here who are students, because whenever you would like to write a paper, you have to look up the literature. I mean, what has already been said, what has already been written and researched on your topic. And in Thailand, I think the first one you should go to if you want to look at literature in Thai language. In Thai language, I think this is the best one. But if you want to look at international papers, you have to go to Scopus or other research databases. So you can type your search term, could be in Thai or in English here, type text. And then you can find your articles discussing the topic you are searching. So as of now, there are almost 300,000 research articles. Quite a lot. 290,200 articles. So they are doing quite a good job. And 904 authors, so many of them. And if we look at, almost 650,000 researchers, I mean, article authors in Thailand, you think Thailand is such a great country research-wise, but, we are not ranked high up by any databases, any ranking organization at all. So something is going on, but something for you to think about if you are interested in this kind of thing. So first thing is to introduce you to the journal. Second thing is to introduce you to the Taijo website, important one, in case you don't know, in case you are from outside of Thailand, just starting to study here. There are quite a lot of English language articles, not very many, not enough in my judgment, but just could be a good starting point. And if you are learning to read Thai, I think that could be, or if you are focusing on Thailand, Thai Buddhism and that kind of thing, this is a good way to go. So back to the journal. This is the latest issue that we have. Luckily it's in Thai here, not in Sinhalese. So it says, the Journal of the Philosophy and Religion Society of Thailand is an organ of communication of the past society with the aim of encouraging and developing knowledge in philosophy and religious studies in Thailand and so on. So as we are being a platform for academic discussion and academic research in the area. So there are three, and I don't even know that even if I could read the Sinhalese, I don't know if that's an accurate translation of the title. But the first paper is by Tuan Chai. She used to be a student here, and she, I think she's a dentist, right? She is working in the army, and she has a degree as a dentist, so she's a dentist, and she has enrolled in the program and has graduated, and she has this paper on. Let us look at the PDF.
It's on the file, if I remember right. But yeah, it's
Yeah, except for the Sinhalese. But let us look at the title of the PDF. So, she's a DDS, so she's a professional dentist. Escape from states of loss and suffering, apaya, Pali term for if you do bad things, you go there, right? Through releasing fetters, sangyoshana. So if you are working in this area, you are welcome to submit your paper to us, and we will talk about the steps that you need to take in order to submit your paper. So the paper was received on the 30th of November, Buddhist era 2565, so more than a year from now, and was revised last year, April 7th last year, and it was accepted July 29 last year. And here is the paper. So we have a running page number in case this is important, because when you want to cite the paper, you can look at the page number, and then everybody gets to the same page number when your reader want to go through your citation. So the paper starts on page 127, so it comes from the previous issues of the journal. And then she goes on and with her paper. And she talks about the concept of fetters. Oh, oops, this becomes big. Okay, this is something publicly available, so you can have a look by yourself. Sangyoshana pahanatang ko avuso pakavati brahmacharyang vussati. Okay, this is an example of our first paper. Our trend is this. We have received more papers in English recently than those in Thai. So the trend seems to show that the journal has become kind of more international. And this is a good trend because, academic activities and knowledge does not know any national boundaries. So, the second paper is by a Japanese philosopher, Juichiro Tanabe, and his collaborator, an American, Len Hartzell. And they are talking about Buddhism and deliberative democracy. This is quite an interesting paper. Openness and the public sphere, a Buddhist perspective. Oh, if I'm going out of time, please tell me. Otherwise, you can just go on and on. So they are talking about a Buddhist perspective on deliberative democracy. Interesting paper. Tanabe, he is a professor. I don't know if he's a full professor now, but he is academically affiliated with Waseda University in Tokyo. Probably he's a lecturer or somewhere. And Here is his paper. I think one thing we should be doing in order, to internationalize the journal further is to change from Buddhist era to kind of, the common era. Instead of 2566, if you're not from Thailand, you don't have an idea. If you're not from Thailand and if you don't know anything about Thailand or Thai way of counting years, you don't have an idea. So maybe next time I have to talk this over with the editorial board of the journal. So change it to 2023 instead of 2566. Okay. So here's the emails of both of the authors of the journal. And then the third paper in this issue is by Wanpat. He is a lecturer at the Faculty of Political Science at Chiang Mai University. And his paper is in Thai. He is talking about the controversy that we are having here in Thailand regarding school uniforms. Thailand is one of the very few countries in the world where university students have uniforms, and they are normally expected to wear their uniforms. And in this paper, he is kind of looking at ideas in political philosophy to try to account for the problems that are inherent in the school uniform debate. That's what he's called. That's what he calls in Thailand. So the paper is in Thai. The paper asks a normative question. The regulation that controls how students wear their uniform, that force students to wear uniform, these regulations legitimate? So the kind of question that philosophers love to ask. And then he is presenting an argument. This is something you should be doing in case you are inclined toward, philosophy. There's a thesis statement. Is the regulation forcing high school students to wear their uniforms legitimate? So is such a regulation legitimate? So what are the reasons? What are the arguments? And one part is presenting a series of arguments aiming to show that these regulations are not actually legitimate because they don't seem to have anything to do with the quality of the education of the students, and so on. So this is one of the more interesting papers in the journal, and there is an English abstract. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then most important thing is how to submit to the journal. We are always looking for good papers. So if you have good papers, please consider submitting to us. So in order to submit, I think first thing to do is to create an account with either Thai Journals Online or the journal. I think they're the same thing. So it says here, papers are being accepted for consideration of publication. Articles can be written in any broad area of philosophy. The journal has no restrictions regarding the school of thought or whatever within philosophy, as long as it's a good paper. And we have 3 peer reviewers. This is kind of regulated by the Ministry of Higher Education. They say that in order for faculty member to submit their articles for their academic promotion, the article needs to be peer reviewed by 3 people. So articles range from 6,000 to 8,000 words, and the citation style is APA. And then you need to register, create an account with the journal before you are able to submit your article. And this is the old. I forgot to change this. Our current citation style is APA, not Chicago anymore. We changed to edit this out. So this is all. I'm open for discussion or questions or anything.
I guess it's time for Dr. Sanko to field questions for the students with you.
Any question from student? Please.
Good morning, Professor. As you are an editor of this journal, you may have both systematic reviewed or academic article and both research articles, especially for students like us who are doing their MA and PhD and writing their thesis and dissertation. We have to write our research based on our thesis. I mean, we have to publish our article based on thesis and dissertation. But what about as an editor? What do you want to see as an editor from the systematic review articles or academic articles, which is different thing from thesis article, because you have to have lots of arguments, lots of evidence, and talks about couple of different things, which is totally, I think, different from thesis or dissertation article that we publish, Ajahn.
Yeah. Normally, we I mean, as a professor, having taught students both MA and PhD levels, I don't want to encourage you to write a systematic review paper for your as part of your study, because it does not exactly show your kind of argumentative or ability or the kind of inventiveness or originality of idea that we professors expect of students. So we know that the requirement of the ministry is that you have to condense your PhD dissertation into a research article. But you cannot just present a systematic review of an area, or could be a narrow area of any discipline, philosophy or any other disciplines, as your dissertation, because that is not original research. So I have to consult with the board about how to or whether we would like to publish systematic review articles. I think it can do good things for the field, for people working in the field, so they don't have to go anywhere else when they want to start their literature review. But as piece of original research, which is required of students, I think you should try to come up with your with original research. Yeah.
Any more question? So one thing I need to remind you. So regarding our thesis, so still we use the style of Ikaku style, but the journal we change into APA. So when I think only this university, Majula University, we use Chicago style for dissertation or thesis. When I got invitation to the others by the university, whether Assumption University or Chiang Mai University, they always use the APA for thesis or dissertation. That's why you have to know about this. But mostly the journals, they prefer using the APA style. Yes. And these journals of philosophy
and Religion Society.
Philosophy and Religion Society of Thailand. So this is our choice in the case that we cannot find out, we may not be able to find out the journal for publication and we have the limited time. So you can go to this website and submit the papers. Then this is another choice for us. Thank you, Ajahn, Professor Sola, to give essential information to us about it. Thank you so much. Next. Next, I would like to invite the Venerable Santo Pamaha Dr. Kieng Sak in Tapanjo. So managing editors for Journals of International Buddhist Study, JIBS. This is Scopus standard. So this is another choice for us if we want to publish our articles on the international standards. Just Scopus. Thank you. Please, Venerable.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to present the information of the Journal of International Buddhist Study with the website because some are confused about JBSC and JBS, and the name is can make the confuse. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Before this, we are indexed in the TCI2, and now we index in the Scopus. Chip, this is the look of chip. The color is the lightest. Mm-hmm. How to score? Oh, yeah. Chip is the now we are the one of the journal to join with the TCI and TRSI Scopus collaboration project. We're really lucky to join this project. This project will improve the Thai journal to index in the Scopus, and JIP is the ones of the journal and to join this project, and it make we index in the Scopus. Very, very lucky for JIP. And JIP published for twice year in June and December. Yeah. But now we publish only the online no print version, but now we publish online on the website. JIP start since 2009. The publisher is the Buddhist Research Institute of Mahachulalongkorn Rachavidyalaya. And I would like to advise you about the aim and scope. And most important to submit the article. Aim and scope is most important. Every journal will show the scope on front page because it's most important for the student who want to publish to submit the article in JIP. I would like you to read about the scope of the JIP, and very important. And the scope is about Buddhist study, and we have a subtopic of the scope. It's good for the student from IBSC. We try to select the scope for a student for IBSC, like Buddhist practice on mental health and well-being, and Buddhist principle in social engagement and ethical decision-making. And for some other who want to publish about the Tripitaka, about compare about Buddhist principle, you can submit the article in the topic of the concept of Buddhism. And we open for another order who want to submit the article and in a field of social science, art, and humanity, but should relate with the Buddhist studies. This is most important. I would like you to focus on the scope. If you submit the article not related with our scope, maybe reject in the first. Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to, as I'm working as an assistant of JIPS, the Journal of International Buddhist Studies with Venerable Kriang Sak, I've been helping since maybe 6 to 7 years ago when JIPS started to be tiered in TCI Tier 2. And since we're doing the conference together in different parts of Thailand from the Buddhist Research Institute, as JIPS is, I think, the one and only Scopus Index Journal, newly selected under the project of TCI Scopus. I think it's phase 2, right? Phase 2, right? Venerable Kriang Sak?
Yeah.
It's phase 2.
Phase 2 first. Phase 2.
And I think there are altogether 5 phases, and the first has been selected and submitted to the Scopus. And this is the only Buddhist journal from Thailand that has been selected for the Scopus. And it's a very honor for not only for MCU, but also Thailand and MCU students to get published in this journal. So that's why, as Venerable Kriang Sak just mentioned about the aim and scope of this journal to be like very selective, right? I think before there were many IBSC students. I think we have to thank IBSC students, especially our seniors who have published their articles in this journal. But when it was tier 2, it was a different story, but now it's indexed in Scopus. So I think we have Dr. John who will be talking in a couple of minutes. So he'll also tell, as a peer reviewer, as an assistant editor, what do we seek for? What do you have to focus for when you write to publish a paper in JIPS?
Yeah.
So as he just mentioned, it's about Buddhist practices and mental health and well-being. Can you show on them? It's about Buddhist principles in social engagement and ethical decision-making, concept of Buddhist wisdoms and other related Buddhist studies. So at least it's related to Buddhism, the concept of Buddhism or any religion. Philosophy is also acceptable. Then you can definitely submit your manuscript to JIPS. And it's twice. We have 2 issues per year, every year, right? And I think right now we are going on the 2 issues per year. But in the future, we're not sure because we are trying to be very selective when it comes to quality papers right now. And we are fortunate to have Dr. John in our side to help us go through the process of this peer review procession. And
Yeah, with very thankful for the student from IBSC who submit to JIPS. It makes JIP have a unique content because most of the article to submit in JIP is about Buddhism, like mindfulness. And the elsewhere or Scopus like the scope of the JIP so much, interesting the scope. And I would like to advise the team, most important person, the editor-in-chief is the Wen Prakrusati Kittipandit, director of Buddhist Research Institute, and Dr. Jones. He come to help me to improve. Now we still improve journal in the high ranking of the Scopus. Scopus have the 3 Q. The quartile, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Q1 is the best.
Yeah, Q1 is the topmost, Q2 is the second one, and I think Q4 is like the very basic, the newly indexed journal, I think.
And I have a good hope and to have Dr. John to join with our team, and most important, the editorial board. Before Scopus accept us, they check the editorial board, and one of the team is Dr. Frank to join, and we sent the citation of Dr. Frank to Scopus to consider. That is the first step to submit to the Scopus. This is our team to run the Journal of International Buddhist Study. And for the student, I would like you, when you want to submit the article to JIP, then you should consider about a peer review process first, because the time is most important for the student, because when you want to finish the PhD or MA, is the time is it's hard you to manage the time to finish your education, and publish the article is the one of thing in your finishing your education. So for JIPS, normally we have 2 months to finish to publish your article, and now we try to help the student, help the author to finish within 2 months. Before that, we invite every article without to screen the article. But now we understand if some authors submit the article that not ready for JIP, maybe reject after review process. But now we will help the student to make ready before submit the article to JIP. That is confirmed. You can't finish or publish in JIP within 2 months. That's good for the student, but you should send your draft to our email first, like a pre-submission. We will help you to make your article ready before submit the article. After you submit, we will make you sure to finish your article within 2 months. And students should consider about the time. You can manage the time to finish your article. And I will show you the most important thing is the format first. Now the format first. And now we use the Chicago style, not APS style. We still use Chicago style. We love Chicago style because we we could understand about Chicago style. When we change to ABS style, I make me confused. So I could understand about Chicago style, and I can check the correct. Huh? Scopus and any style it depends on the journal, but you should do the best for you.
I think we are used to Chicago style because MCU we have similar formats because of using the footnotes in our thesis and dissertation. And I would like to point out one more thing for our students, especially when students in previous years when they try to make submission with JIPS, they do not understand the process of peer review. Like they just want to submit right now and to be published. I think a lot of students still lack understanding of these things, how long it takes. You have to edit your manuscript. You have to be commented by reviewers, at least 3 reviewers, as Ajahn Sorak just mentioned, right? And a different perspective, different ideas. You have to take those comments and edit your manuscripts to be published. It's not that you just submit and you just, yes?
Yes, I wonder if this is correct. So let's say you're submitting with the hope of publishing in December, then would it be reasonable to submit your initial article in September or maybe October?
To
2 or 3 months, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Before the deadline.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Two.
Yeah. What like what we see nowadays is like they've completed all the criteria for the degree, for the graduation, but they fail to publish the article in time. So like I see many staff working in rush hour that he comes to Venerable Kriang Sak and can you help me with editing? See, you need to manage your time. Like you be very time constrained, and if you think that in 5 months from now you are going to graduate, then like you have to plan to publish your article before that, because as Venerable Kriang Sak mentioned that I think it takes 2 months, at least 2 months to submit, to be in the process of peer review. So we need to plan ahead before we submit, right? I think a lot of students still lack these understandings. So I think students here today can understand the peer review process, how it's done. And you can also see the chart as Venerable Kriang Sak just made it. It's very easy to understand it, and you will know that how long will it take, right? And if you want more definitions or more detailed, you can also read below that. You have all manuscript, like initial evaluation, reviewers assignment, review process, decision, right? And finally to the publication. And they're also about, I think, publication ethics that we need to follow. And I think it's very, very strict in Thailand to conduct a research without having an ethical consideration, right? If you are collecting data from humans, kids, you need to have certain publication ethics that you need to follow, right? So
So JIPS used for 2 months to publish. So students know the time. You can manage your time to finish your education. And another thing that
the thing is that they have to keep in mind that maybe their paper being rejected.
But we don't want to reject during the peer review process. If the student come to discuss with the editor team first before submit the article, we will try to make your articles better, ready for the JIPS. After that, you submit the article in our website. Then the process will flow smooth like a seal.
I think, I think Venerable Kriang Sak mentioned about having a pre-submission workshop. Like I think 2 weeks ago we did a workshop on academic writing. Do you remember Dr. John did? So I think in the future we are going to have similar workshops to bring your original manuscripts to us and go through some peer reviewers or some editors who can look whether your paper is ready to be published in Scopus Index Journal or not, right? So they are here to help you. Like we are like the workers who work behind this journal. So I think we will have in the future. I think we will have some other peer reviewers to look into your articles as well before you submit, like your original papers?
After you submit, you can manage your time. And sure, you will publish within 2 months. And this way, very good for peer review, our peer review together. Good for peer review because we make it better for the peer review to review the article. It's good for them. And the peer review like to review the good article. They don't like to review the not ready article to submit in our journal. That is make a peer review suffer when they get the manuscript that not ready to publish the article. Okay. Another thing, another thing that I would like the author or the student should read the information before publish the article in JIP. That one is all the guidelines most important. Most important. Yeah, please read all the guidelines. More important, they are the love the author who read about the all the guideline and prepare the manuscript and follow the order guideline. Yeah, you can check order guideline in our website, and now we have the reference guide Chicago style inside. You can download it, and we have the journal template for you to prepare your article. Yeah, we prepared the information for the author who want to submit the article. The article is maybe a academic article, and word length is between the 5,000 and 8,000 words. Okay, and another things final for me is the submission. You ready to submission and make a submission? In submission, we still have the topic that author should check before I submit. You should check. We have the list, topic list for you to check after you finish your manuscript, and you should add something for the JIP, like the information from your articles, like what the title, what the author name, or what the word length, and the date of submissions, the name of your institution. Some the author don't add information of the article. Sometimes they submit a mistake email when I reply something or communicate with the author, and in the mistake email they cannot to get the email. So it's problem, maybe problem to send a message to the author. So for JIP, we would like the author to send the information of your manuscript to, and you should checklist for a submission requirement in our website. You can read more in the detail from our website. And another thing that I would like you to add when you submit the article manuscript, cover letter is most important. You should tell about us what interesting from your article, what interesting. That's the editor love to read your cover letter. You should add. It's good for you to accept to move forward to a peer review process. Most important. And some of author like to submit in PDF file. We require you to submit in Microsoft Word file, no PDF file. Yeah. For me, it's enough for me. If you want to know about JIP, please check in our website. Thank you so much.
Okay, I have one more announcement of a practical sort, and then I turn it over to Dr. Samfong. The 16 students who registered, you are all paid for your lunch in the Wisdom Cafe. Dr. Conant has paid for all of the lecturers, so you have free lunch thanks to him next door. That's my practical announcement. And now to Dr. Samfong. Group picture? Oh, it's John's time.
So we have the last speaker.
Dr. John Johnston will now talk. It's 15 minutes. He's going to talk about the JIBS journal. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. John, he associates editor journals, the same journal with you. Yeah. So maybe if you need the question, you can conclude the question between him and him because time is yes. Okay, please.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Well, I'm now aware that I'm standing between you and lunch, so I'm going to have to be very economical in my presentation, be very brief. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm not so sure how much more I can add about JIBS. I'm, first of all, so grateful to be at MCU and to participate in this event, and also to be an associate editor of JIBS. Buddhist studies internationally often is associated with text, the study of sacred texts. So something like a Journal of Buddhist Studies, you may anticipate that it will be focused on suttas, commentaries, classics. That's sort of the old school Buddhist studies. As Venerable Kyong Sak has already presented, the scope of JIBS, the Journal of International Buddhist Studies, is broader. So we're not exclusively interested in ancient texts and issues of translation. We're open to various aspects of Buddhism, but we're particularly interested, if I can speak for the journal, in the lived experience of Buddhism. So most of our articles relate to the current contemporary circumstances. We see very few manuscripts that are on ancient times, and a lot of writing about how Buddhism can apply to modern life, modern world, modern issues. So we're open to a variety of Buddhist studies articles. Now, I was interested in hearing about, I have the benefit of sitting here and listening to everyone's presentations, and returning to the first presentation in this issue of why do we write? What is the motivation? Why are we writing for these journals? Is it to share wisdom with the world? Is it because we have found something unique in our research that we think this is important, this has been overlooked? I want to draw attention from academia to this important, otherwise neglected topic. Okay, those are pure motivations. Okay, but as we've heard in the other presentations, a lot of times the motivations are, I need to graduate. That's the motivation. You're writing a journal article not because you want to be part of the global discussion on Buddhist studies, but because you want to graduate. And someone else submits an article, their motivation is they want to get a job teaching. Or they submit because a lot of universities in Thailand give you cash bonus. If the professor publishes in a Scopus journal, they'll actually get some, tens of thousands of baht. So those are sort of the real world motivations. I can say that as an editor, I can usually tell the papers that are motivated by, oh my God, I have to graduate. Or I really need this job, or I need tenure. But remember that it's not the editor's job to make sure that you graduate, or you get the job, or you get the bonus. Really, we have to put all of those kind of practical, real world concerns aside and look at your paper in terms of an original contribution to knowledge. And does it reach the gold standard? We have a very high standard at JIBS, which I think has helped us with our Scopus rating and indexing. With this idea of originality, oftentimes that trips up authors because they think, oh, this is a lot of pressure. I have to write something that no one else has thought of before. It has to be completely original, fresh, different, new. That's not the academic understanding of originality. Originality can also mean that you take all of the sources and you provide a new interpretation, that you reveal something new based on other people's work. So I think this term originality can trip people up. One thing that I like to say to students, I'm really tempted to teach a class on academic writing right now, but I'm going to limit some of my suggestions about the technicality of writing. But one thing that is helpful when you're preparing to submit to a journal is to read good journal articles. So if you have an author that you really like, go to his bibliography, Google him or her, and find out what he or she have written. Read those articles. If there's an article that you really like in a certain journal, go to that journal's website. Read all the articles you can from that specific journal. And it's never too early to, when you're Googling these journals, to go to their webpage and look at the submission guidelines and the focus. Okay, so is this journal appropriate for my research question, for my research topic? Have they published other articles that are related, even just tangentially, not maybe directly, but indirectly related to my research? Then, take a look, what do they require in terms of their formatting? So it's never too early for you to, even if you're not ready to submit right now, it's a good practice to go to some journals and read their submission guidelines and read their scope, read their advice, and take their advice seriously, because this is their standards. That's what they're going to judge your paper on. So really take your time looking at the website. Yes, I'm going to bounce around a little bit because I'm responding to some of the things that have been said. We do require your submission in Microsoft Word. And one reason for that is that it allows us to edit through track changes. So if you're not familiar with track changes in Microsoft Word, I encourage you to get familiar with it. I resisted for years. I was like, oh, it's too much trouble. I'll just use green font if I like it and red font if I don't. And I made life much more complicated for myself. So the sooner that you can learn how to use track changes and learn how to show all markup, no markup, all of these tools that track changes provides, it's a great help, not just for your journal submission, but for any kind of writing that you do that's nonfiction writing. I think track changes is very helpful. We have spoken a little bit about this idea that we may try to put together some pre-submission workshops or help prospective authors of articles bring up the quality of their paper before they formally submit it into the JIBS software system. I think that's going to be helpful. I mean, oftentimes when I read papers, one thing that I think is, oh, this is not fully developed. The author, be it a student or a professor or researcher, they submitted this to JIBS too early. They haven't gone through and really made it logical. They haven't made a good argument. It's sloppy, there are mistakes, and oftentimes just give it more time. I think all of us who are involved in writing know that writing takes a lot of time. It takes a lot more time than you expect. In your mind, you think it's going to take a month, probably double that. A project could take 2 months of just the writing. So be sure to give yourself enough time. Don't make your problems our problems. If your problem is, I have to get this published or I won't graduate and it'll be so embarrassing and my parents, that's not JIBS, that's not our problem. That was, you needed to start a year before you submitted to make sure that it was accurate, that it was sound. All right. I wanted to mention, I mentioned the submission guidelines. Adhere to them carefully. And in general, make less work for the editors. It's not that we as editors are lazy. I mean, we're busy people. Oftentimes we edit on a volunteer basis in addition to our own writing, our own research, teaching, traveling, life. We don't have time to devote days and days and weeks to help your paper reach a minimum standard. So if you ask too much of the editors of any journal, you're going to get rejected. And a misunderstanding is this term editor. Okay, it's not our job as editors to fix your mistakes. Editors are not proofreaders. Okay? And it's not our responsibility to make sure everything is correct. Of course, once it gets published, it reflects on the journal, it reflects on the editors as well as the author. So it's in everyone's best interest to have the best possible paper. But you should not rely on the editors of any journal or publication to fix your mistakes. And if they don't catch your mistakes and those mistakes make it all the way through publication, that's going to be your reputation for the rest of your career. That's one of the negative things about the internet, is that if you publish something very early on in your career, it's going to live on forever. People Google you 30 years later, and they say, oh, what is this person? What have they written? And they read something that you wrote in a hurry, trying to finish your PhD in a panic, full of mistakes, full of inaccuracies. They don't know that. They go to your paper and think, not a very good author. Let's not invite them to the conference. Let's not include them in the book project. So that's why this is very important for your career. This paper doesn't just get published, people read it for a few months, and it disappears forever. These journal articles live for your entire career. So you should be very strongly motivated to make it as perfect as you can. That's certainly what we're striving toward. We want the best possible papers. We want to approach perfection. And when articles are submitted to us with all kinds of problems, then we think, well, it's going to be so hard for us to get this to that gold standard, that it's just too much for us. And that's where, even in the first stage, we will reject it. Let me just mention the main reasons why we reject papers. So I don't like to sort of be so negative. We really like to accept papers. Let me start there. We love great papers. We love to publish things that reflect well on the author, that reflect well on the journal and MCU and the editors. That's a happy arrangement. And what's most meaningful is through this work, we can make a contribution to the understanding of Buddhism, which is very profound, and it's a big responsibility. So in a way, we are also gatekeepers, trying to prevent misunderstandings or incorrect views about Buddhism. We try to limit this misinformation on Buddhism and promote articles that provide accuracy. Okay, those issues, the main issues why we that prevent publication. Number one with JIBS is English language. That's the number one reason. And in this academic writing course that I just recently taught, I sort of attack the idea that you can say, well, the person had good ideas, but the English wasn't good. That's impossible to tell. This is an artificial division. Good idea, bad English. How do we know it's a good idea if it's written in bad English? The English is what delivers a good idea. So don't, in your mind, make this difference between, okay, I have a good thought and I know how I want to express it, but, well, the English is not so great, but the idea is still good. And I'm really emphasize that these things, you can't separate them. You can't have bad English and a great idea, okay? So the English has to meet a certain standard. And I would say that if they're more than like, I'm just making up a number, but 20% of the text has serious English problems, then we will be very likely to reject it. We simply don't have the time to spend days and days trying to repair English that's substandard. Also, we have to sometimes guess at the meaning with the English. So I know that there's a journal in Bangkok that asks that all the manuscripts that are submitted are proofread by a native speaker. I mean, walking around the MCU campus, I think there's not a lot of native English speakers on campus, so they would have a lot of work if they have to proofread everybody's work. But even if you find someone, one of your colleagues who you know has good English skills, ask them to proofread your paper. One thing that poor English also, a problem of poor English is it breaks the bond of trust between the author and the reader. So as you're a reader, you say, oh, interesting article about Jataka tales. I'm very interested in this. Then you start reading and there's so many mistakes that you begin to distrust the accuracy of the research. How can you trust something that is so full of mistakes? So you want to preserve this bond of trust between the author and the reader. I'll come back to that. I think I still have some time here. All right. Another issue that we encounter is subjective writing. Academic writing, academic readers are skeptical. They immediately doubt what you have to say. They pick up your article and they think, what does this woman know? What does this guy know? Probably inaccurate. I mean, it's not a negative view, but they don't think, every word that this person says must be true. I have to believe it. This is important because we encounter a lot of general statements, broad statements that are not supported with evidence, and a lot of subjective statements. So particularly in Buddhist studies, we have authors who say, if you want to improve your Buddhist practice, you need to meditate every day and show compassion. And isn't it wonderful to be caring to others? That's not our job. This is not an academic article. Academic article has to be focused, has to be sharp. Usually it is skeptical. Okay, I think you know what I mean by skeptical. So that you just don't believe it because the author says it. Also, we encounter these general statements that our readers of Jibs don't need to be told the Buddha lived 2,700 years ago in India, and Buddhism is a peaceful religion, and meditation is important. This is all general knowledge. We all know this. Everybody in this room knows this. Most children in high school or lower know these things. So anything that's like general information, too broad, too simple, take it out. Get right to your argument. What is your argument? What is your thesis? What are you trying to prove? I don't want to hear about Thailand as a country in Southeast Asia. Thailand is home of many happy, lovely people who practice Buddhism. That's okay on your Facebook or something, but that's not appropriate for an academic article. Another area that we encounter some difficulty with is lack of citations or sources. I read a proposal yesterday. There was not one footnote in the entire article. So as the reader, what that tells the reader is, oh, this is this one person's opinion. This person says, oh, this is what it's like. This is what I think. This is what is happening. Why should I trust that? I want to see that this author is engaging with other academics, with other experts, with other specialists. through paraphrasing and also through direct quotes. So this is something that's important, that direct quotes strengthen your article. They help your article. There's some misunderstanding that, oh, if I have to take the exact words from somebody else and put them in my article, maybe it shows that my ideas are kind of weak and this person's ideas are stronger. Don't think that way. That's not academic thinking, okay? So this is all about evidence and proof and providing context and citing sources. Another thing that I found, I think some of you are getting hungry in this room. I don't blame you. Another thing that I've found is, of course, plagiarizing. Plagiarizing when you use the words or even the ideas of someone, another author, and you don't give them credit is disaster. It's catastrophe, okay? It would look terrible for Jibs. If we published an article full of plagiarism, it would be disaster. It would be a terrible day at the journal. Do not plagiarize. You may have noticed the president of Harvard University recently had to resign. Okay, recently had to resign because of plagiarism. So this takes me back to my earlier statement that even if this journal article is your first article and you're just beginning your career as an expert, specialist, academic, that doesn't mean that you get a free pass to plagiarize. All right? Plagiarism is theft. It's intellectual theft. And there's no excuse. If you say, well, I'm just a PhD student, I didn't know, that's not a good enough defense. Okay? And that can damage your career for the rest of your career. That's why you have to be extra vigilant about plagiarism. All right, let's see if there's anything else I meant to mention there. I think that pretty much covers the points I wanted to make, but I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Yes. I can hear you.
I just want to know, Thank you very much. I just want to know, because it takes time to publish the article, so can we just submit our article to different journals? And when we find some articles they accept, then I just inform to other articles do not publish my.
It's a good question. I'd be curious how other people handle that. I think generally in academia, it's frowned upon. If you submit the same article to multiple journals, that is not good academic practice. But certainly you can't have two articles that are published that are very, very similar, almost the same. You're almost plagiarizing or stealing from your own work. But this is an issue of ethics. How have you handled this? Do you only submit to one?
Well, as a rule, you cannot submit one article to more than one journal.
Yeah, that's the rule.
That's unethical.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
But
almost as serious as plagiarizing.
yeah, they're right. So I think that's true. I mean, I agree with you. And if you read the submission guidelines, they always ask that you haven't submitted this to someone else, other journal, that this is original work. Yeah, I mean, that would be my approach, would be to only submit to one.
Yeah, I comment on that. I'm sure that each journal you send to assumes that you have not now sent the same article elsewhere. After you get the rejection letter, you're free to submit it elsewhere. Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's good. I agree with that. Also, it would create a tremendous amount of wasted energy in all of these journals. There are 30,000 journals in the world, So if you start sending them around, all these people editing, proofreading, and then you say, no, thank you, not interested. It's an ethical issue as well as an issue of plagiarizing. Yes.
Any other?
Okay. Yes. Okay. I wanted to ask. Good morning. We are very appreciate for your guideline for academic Johnny. So my question is, can you share single experience? How did you use academic career for your daily life? How can we get benefit for academic career?
How to use an academic career to benefit your daily life?
Yes. Okay.
You mean outside of making money?
So, no.
'Cause
I
you need
missed
that to
that.
eat food. So I would answer that as not just as an academic, but as any student who's gone through a good university, hopefully at the BA level, but definitely at the MA and PhD level. The main takeaway is thinking critically, criticality,
Yes.
doubt, skepticism. Prove it to me. Don't just tell me, prove it to me.
Okay.
This will benefit you in your life. When you're watching the evening news and you have this question, why should I believe what they said? Maybe there's another point of view. I'm interested in going further, researching deeper. I think critical thinking, criticality changes everything in your life, should at least, and intellectually, certainly, like really fundamental to one's intellectual development.
Okay. Thank you for your answer. That's good. Okay. Maybe.
Okay, Dr. John, to share the essential information for us. Okay, it's time. So, so on behalf of IBSC, so we would like to thank Professor Frank, Professor Sorat, Professor Yang Li, Dr. John, and Dr. Klai Lung to share the essential information and experience, the way to publish, especially the journal. That's very necessary for us. So anyway, thank you so much. So we take a group photo and lunch very late. Okay, please quickly.